radiofonica al PostModernissimo per un'altra super serata con Wrekmeister Harmonies. Welcome to Perugia. Is your first time in Italy? Absolutely.
No, not my first time in Italy. It's my second time. Yeah. First time here, though. It's great.
And how is your tour going? You are in the middle of your European tour.
Yeah, it's going great. Yeah, we're really enjoying Italy. I think it's really nice to come to these smaller towns and see the beautiful countryside here and the mountains. So, yeah.
Wrekmeister Harmonies is a big collective of musicians who came from different music circles. And you, JR, you are a sort of orchestra leader. How it all starts?
How did this all start? Because
How did it all start? Well, what happened was I made a film. I shot a film in different locations in Detroit, in America, Tasmania, which is in Australia, then out in the desert in Joshua Tree, and also in New York. So I showed this film at the Museum of Contemporary Art in Chicago, and I thought it would be nice to have do like a live score for this. So I invited some friends, and we all played together, and it was really wonderful. It was a really great evening. So that's basically how the Wrekmeister Harmonies started.
And you released the third album. Talk about two real-life horror story. What is the part that stuck you most?
Oh, the part that I think what affected me most about both of those people were that there's this idea of what evil is, and how does a person react being confronted with evil, like whatever evil is, right? And I wanted to show that these people were creative and had, in the case of Carlo Gesualdo, was just like more known almost for his horrific acts than he was for someone who constructed a tonal structure that was 300 years ahead of its time. And that I really wanted to investigate that. I wanted to see what that was all about. And the question of Father John Gagan was very personal because I grew up in Boston, Massachusetts, where he is from. But I also wanted to investigate the emotion of, like, this is a person who is just completely, he's damaged. He's a damaged individual. There's something in his chemistry that doesn't fire right, that makes him want to do these things. But his acts are pretty horrific, but what I wanted to see was, like, what would it be like to just kind of view him with compassion and try and understand, if that makes any sense. So it was those two ideas kind of overlapping that I wanted to investigate the most on Night of Your Ascension.
I know that few years ago you played an old cemetery in Chicago. How it was?
How'd it
go? Did
you have fun?
Yes, I had fun. Actually, the first time I met JR, the first question he asked me was, he heard I played violin, and the first question was, do you want to play in a cemetery? And I was like, yes, I want to play in the cemetery. And that was my introduction to him. And playing in such a beautiful venue it's just an amazing experience, because it creates this whole atmosphere, and it really makes you feel like this show is very precious, and everyone has its same sort of feeling when they enter into the cemetery. And so the musicians, it's a huge show. Like, basically everyone on the album is playing at these shows, so it's a huge, almost orchestral feeling, very precious and holy and grand. And it really strikes everyone when they're listening to the show. So yeah, it's a really amazing experience. So
I think in the point of view of the sound is perfect. Mm-hmm. No?
Yeah, it's just Well, something that I think is really awesome is that we actually we actually schedule these cemetery shows around the moon. So I think at least a couple times, if not every year, it's actually around the supermoon.
Yeah, around a full moon.
Like a full moon.
Or a
Yeah,
solstice.
a solstice.
Yeah, I mean.
So you have like the sound.
Also the perfect moment.
Yeah. So it's like the perfect moment, the perfect sound, the perfect venue.
And the perfect audience.
Yeah, the perfect audience, because everyone just sits out there on the lawn of the mausoleum, and they're just watching us, and we kind of surround them, like because the mausoleum's this U shape, and we just kind of surround the audience. So it's just a really special experience. So.
And so you can say that it's the best place in which you have played.
The best place? I don't know if it's the best place. I mean, it's a place that we played. I mean, the place that we're playing tonight is a great place. I love playing any place that's not like a club or a bar. You know, which playing clubs and bars is fine. You know, it's totally fine to play in those sort of venues, but playing in theaters, museums, churches, any place, cemeteries, any place that's outside of the normal parameters of where you would go to experience music and where you would go to experience art. To me, that makes the evening more special. You know.
And I think for me, like, a great venue is when you have a very receptive audience that is really into and are listening very attentively.
And you reach the goal.
Yeah, and like it's
Yeah.
like I think every show is all about making that connection with the audience. And
So like
Yeah.
for example, like we could play a show in a cemetery and there'd be a lot of people and we feel like we have a connection to those people and there's a definite exchange of energy between the audience and the performers. But then we could also play like, you know,
A
a
small
small place
bookstore,
like a art gallery, like we played the other night at this art gallery. And everybody who came to that art gallery was very attentive and very appreciative, and there was the same kind of connection, the same kind of energy that was cycling back through between the audience and ourselves creating. So that's, to me, is what makes like a really, really great show.
Only the last question. Andrea Wrekmeister was a musician, and it was convinced that music was the end result of God's work. What about you? What is music for you?
what is music for you?
What is music for you?
Oh, music for me? Music for me is just an essential part of my being. It's a way of communicating feelings, a way of communicating life and emotions, and it's a way of just connecting with other people and collaboration and beauty, sadness, just everything. So just in a different form. So.
Yeah.
And it can represent good or evil or just the whole spectrum. I think music is a really great thing. So
I think music is just part of an extension of the self, and whatever it is you have, like if you have a passion for, if your passion is painting, if your passion is writing, if your passion is sculpting, if your passion is reading and critiquing, if your passion is working in a hardware store, if your passion is to be the best vegetable grower, it's all energy, you know. It's just that's what music is to me. It's an extension of like human energy and creativeness, and that kind of energy and creativity is not limited only to music. It's limitless. It's to whatever. I don't know what else you do other than talk to musicians and artists, but I'm sure there's things that you're incredibly passionate about. You know, some people are passionate about like their children. That's all they want to do in life is have, you know, a child and nurture it, and you know, it's the same. It's all energy and it's all tied in together, and that's what music is to me. It's just a logical extension of the human condition.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Grazie.
And I hope you will enjoy this place and this audience.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Wrekmeister Harmonies al PostModernissimo, un saluto da Radiofonica.